A dramatic finish at the Miami Grand Prix has ignited fierce backlash against the FIA, with fans and observers questioning the consistency of stewarding decisions. A heavy penalty for Charles Leclerc, contrasted with lighter sanctions elsewhere, and fresh controversy involving Max Verstappen's aggressive overtakes, has intensified accusations of double standards in Formula One officiating. Formula One's governing body is facing mounting criticism following a controversial set of stewarding decisions at the Miami Grand Prix, with many questioning the consistency and fairness of penalties handed out during a chaotic race weekend. At the center of the storm is Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc, who was handed a 20-second post-race penalty after a dramatic sequence of incidents on the final lap. The sanction dropped him from 6th to 8th in the final classification, significantly altering the race outcome. Leclerc's troubles began when he spun at high speed exiting turn 3, making contact with the wall and damaging the front left of his car. Despite avoiding a major accident, the impact compromised his steering, leaving him unable to properly navigate right-hand corners. In a desperate attempt to reach the checkered flag, Leclerc caught multiple chicanes and fought to defend his position against both George Russell and Max Verstappen. He also made slight contact with Russell at the hairpin before losing positions to both drivers at the line. Following the race, FIA stewards investigated the incident and concluded that Leclerc had gained a lasting advantage by repeatedly leaving the track. Car 16 spun on the last lap at turn 3 and hit the wall but continued, the FIA report stated. The driver reported difficulty negotiating right-hand corners. As a result, he cut several chicanes. We determined that this resulted in a lasting advantage. The mechanical issue does not constitute a justifiable reason. A drive-through penalty, converted into a 20-second time penalty, was imposed, while the contact with Russell was deemed a minor racing incident with no further action required. However, the severity of the punishment has drawn widespread criticism, particularly when compared to other rulings during the race. Verstappen, for example, received only a 5-second penalty for crossing the pit exit line, considered a standard sanction, prompting many to question the disparity between the two decisions. The Dutch driver was also involved in another controversial moment earlier, in the race during his recovery drive through the midfield. After spinning on lap 1 and dropping to the back, Verstappen charged back through the field, executing a bold overtake on Carlos Sainz at turn 17. The move, which saw Verstappen brake late and dive down the inside, forced Sainz to take evasive action and briefly leave the track, costing him multiple positions. The Williams driver voiced his frustration over team radio, accusing Verstappen of overstepping the mark. Later, Sainz described the maneuver as borderline, suggesting it may have been influenced by Verstappen's urgency to recover lost ground. Verstappen, however, dismissed the criticism with a light-hearted response. "I don't really know what was aggressive about it," he said after the race. "It's a bit of a jungle in the midfield, so these things happen." Despite acknowledging the intensity of the situation, Verstappen maintained that the move was part of normal racing conditions when fighting through a tightly packed field. The incident was not formally penalized, adding further fuel to the ongoing debate about consistency in stewarding decisions. Fan reaction has been swift and vocal, with many taking to social media to express frustration over perceived double standards. Leclerc gets a harsh, unjustified penalty for having a damaged car, while Verstappen gets away with a clear infringement. Unjust. Last season, similar incidents were 5-second penalties. Now it's 20 seconds. Where's the consistency? Russell should have been shown the meatball flag for his front wing damage. We've seen penalties for less. 5 seconds would have been understandable. 20 seconds on the final lap feels excessive. Some fans went further, questioning whether different drivers are judged by different standards. It used to be 5 seconds. Maybe that only applies to certain drivers. Others were more blunt in their assessment. What a joke. The inconsistency is unbelievable. The controversy has once again highlighted the challenges faced by FIA. Stewards in applying regulations consistently across complex and fast-moving race situations. For Ferrari, the penalty represents a costly setback, with Leclerc dropping behind teammate Lewis Hamilton and Alpine's Franco Colapinto in the final standings. Meanwhile, Verstappen's eventful race, featuring both penalties and aggressive overtakes, has only added to the scrutiny surrounding decision-making. Processes, as Formula One continues to grow in intensity and global attention, the demand for clear, consistent officiating has never been higher. The Miami Grand Prix delivered drama on track, but it is the decisions made off it that are now dominating the conversation, leaving the FIA under increasing pressure to address concerns over fairness and transparency in the sport.